Multicolored cards coming at you from Lorwyn Eclipsed. These are going to be some of the cards with the more interesting abilities, some of the signpost uncommons, some of the typo cards, and also a bunch of cards that have hybrid mana, meaning you can cast them with multiple types of mana, which is important when it comes to limited, because that means you can cast them in monocolored decks of whatever they happen to be hybrids of. And we're going to start with actually just a blue-white card. This is a Merfolk Lord in blue-white, which is unusual, because usually we think of Merfolk being, you know, green-blue. Blue-white, that's what these ones are. This is a Merfolk, it's a 2/2, and it lets you untap a Merfolk you control and end step, including itself, if that's what you want to do. Other Merfolks you control get +1/+1. I think this is very good for limited, because there's a bunch of flying and evasive Merfolk that you can then swing in with, and then keep back as blockers. They're all getting buffed. I could see having just like a pair of these and doing a lot of damage. They are uncommons, but we have some cheap flyers too in the Merfolk colors. Could be good, could be good. Another fish, but this one's rare. 2 mana, 2/2. When it enters, you untap each other Merfolk you control. So maybe you've convoked and cast a spell. Maybe you've attacked in and now you want to convoke and cast a spell. Maybe it's just your opponent's turn because this has flash and you want to block. They all work. As long as you attack with 3 or more Merfolk this turn, your Merfolk also get a half buff here. They get +1/+0, which is pretty nice. You can, you could even like swing in, have them block, and then flash this out to give that power buff, as long as you've attacked with 3 or more Merfolk. You think it's worse than the uncommon? The flash on it is really nice. You like its angler staff? Yeah, it's like a conch looking opening too. Kind of cool. Conch, whatever. And I think that the art's very colorful. The art in this set is bangers. And I like how, like, these are completely different, but they're both cool. Oh, well, this is a Richard Kane Ferguson. That's why it looks like that. Okay, makes sense. More fish. Fish. An Eclipsed Miro. This is a blue or white card, but it's triple color, making it kind of hard to cast if you're just in one of those. 2/3. When this enters, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You can reveal a Merfolk, or a Plains, or an Island. Okay, well, if you're in blue-white, you're pretty likely to hit a Plains or Island. If you are just in one of those colors, this will be harder. You get that card into hand, though, and, yeah, I would say I would only play this one if I was in just blue-white, not really just blue or white, because of, like, this ability and the difficulty in casting cost. It does give you some good devotion, though, if that's something you care about. This is also Richard Kane Ferguson, right? Yeah, it looks like it. This is a 5 mana 2/2 with Convoke, Flying Vigilance. It's a common, though. When it enters, you also get a bonus Merfolk. So this is very, very high cost. But it's, you know, Convoke. Do I like it that much? Not that much. Like, for me, it's kind of hard to evaluate Convoke sometimes, but especially blue, less so white, more so blue, had a bunch of payoff for your cards being tapped, and yeah, I would still play it. Like, if I wanted something to fill in that curve, I would, like, evaluate it as more of a 4-drop than a 5-drop, because I assume I'm convoking with, like, 1 creature. Sig's Command, here's a rare. 3 mana, Kindred Merfolk sorcery, so it does count as a Merfolk spell. You could behold it. If there was only a 2 mana Merfolk card that cared about devotion to blue. Yeah, I wonder what that could possibly be, Thassa's Oracle. Create a token that's a copy of a Merfolk you control. You can only choose 2. That's very specific. Creatures target player controls gain lifelink. Ugh, if this was an instant. I think Sig's looking good. Sig's looking healthy for his age. Target player draws a card. Oh, that's always going to be useful. Tap target creature, put a stun on it. I mean, I wouldn't draft this super highly, but it is a good card, especially if you have just a few more Merfolk, because of the make a copy and draw a card. I think the generic casting of this, the, like, I don't have anything else, is you draw a card and you tap and stun a thing, which at 3 mana is just fine. Yeah, this feels too safe at sorcery speed. And, like, it's a rare. I kind of want it to be a little more exciting at rare. It's like the commands, I feel like, should be more exciting. It's fine. Deceit. Ooh, these are the first Evoke elementals we've seen of the set. So if you've never played with Evoke cards, Evoke lets you bring out the card for a lower cost, but it sacrifices itself immediately. Like, it enters the battlefield and sacrifices, so you get its ETB abilities, which in this case are based on the mana spent to cast it. So if you're only casting it for 2 mana, you only get one of these 2 abilities. But if you cast it for 6, its full cost, you will get both. When this creature's enter, if blue was spent to cast it, return up to 1 other target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. If black was cast, you Thoughtseize your opponent. You reveal their hand, choose a non-land, and make them discard it. Yeah, no scamming in Standard. If it's cast for free or just reanimated, you get none of this. Well, you get a 5/5. Good enough. Yeah, this is a pretty decent card, though, for limited because of these abilities, both being good, the Evoke flexibility. But I actually think I would very rarely be evoking this, and I would almost always want to cast it either at full cost or sometimes as blue, sometimes as black, because it's a bounce or it's a Thoughtseize, which, yes, those are both totally worth it at these colors, at sorcery speed, but I want both. I want both. Yeah, if you evoke it for blue and black, then you get nothing, which, if you play an arena, check Auto Tapper. All right, check Auto Tapper first. Dream Harvest. Oh, that's funky looking. Look at that. This is a 7-mana sorcery. Each opponent exiles cards from the top of their library until they've exiled cards with a total mana value 5 or greater this way. And until end of turn, you can cast those cards without paying their mana cost. At 7 mana? I don't know. I like that it doesn't really whiff, but you could still get useless cards and cards you can't actually play on this turn, like if you got like counter spells. I would rate it a 3 out of 10 crime card. Costs too much, too limited in scope. Yeah. It's cool that it's each opponent, though, so, like, if you're in multiplayer, you will get more cards stolen. It's definitely better for multiplayer, but, like, it's no breach the multiverse. It doesn't even commit a crime. No. But it does do crime. It just doesn't commit a crime. I actually kind of wish it also hit you. So it's like, in 1v1, it's at least hitting 2 players. Mischievous Sneakling. Oh my god, you're so goofy and goopy looking. Your little hair. It's a 2-mana 2/2 with flash. That's every creature type. Okay, if you have the stuff that cares about casting things on your opponent's turn, this is pretty good payoff. I don't think it's bad. Voracious Tome Skinner. Oh, it's another one of these triple colored hybrid cards. This one, by the way, hybrid cost, easy to cast. 1 and then like multicolored, that's easy. This is the opposite. This is hard. Whenever you cast a spell during an opponent's turn, you may pay 1 life if you do draw a card. Sweet. That's nice for the flash theme. Would still only really play it if I was in all blue, all black, because of how hard it is to cast. Or like all blue and black. If you're very heavy in blue or black, it's still castable. So more payoff, I think, than this one, which was more specific to those colors, because it got you plains or islands. She spoils the book before you read it? Oh, that's rude. A Boggart Curse Crafter. Black-red Goblin Warlock has Death Touch, and whenever another goblin you control dies, this deals 1 damage to each opponent. Oh, that's fun for goblin stuff. Goblins love dying. Also, it's a 2/3 with Death Touch. I like it for limited. I could see playing it in a constructed deck, too. We have a few options right now for red-black goblin commanders, and I think somewhere where this could be especially cute is, I don't know, like even Slimefoot and Squee, because there's a bunch of ways to like infinitely sacrifice that in a turn. And this is just another Blood Artist if that's what you're doing. Also Goblin. There's also like a Vial Smasher and something else that cared about... There was something that cared about Descend, I want to say. There was a red-back goblin. Zayoa, maybe? Something funky like that. Chaos Spewer. Blech. 3 mana, 5/4. When this enters, you may pay 2, and if you don't, blight 2. Oh, interesting. So it's a, it enters as a 5/4, and then you can choose to distribute, or put the 2 counters on it or something else. So it's a 3/2 or a 5/4 if you can pay the 2. I don't think that's bad. I think that's kind of nice as a common. Very easy to cast as well. Eclipsed Boggart. Oh my god, this guy is so cute. It's one of the hard to cast ones. It's a 3 mana, 2/3. When it enters, you look at the top 4 cards of your library. Oh, it's the inverse of the Merfolk one. Goblin, Swamp, or Mountain. Okay, same thing as the other one. Would only play it if I'm in both colors. Unless I'm very, very heavy in one and have tons of hits. It's a whole cycle. Are they all 2/3s? The cycle is a little bit different, though, because, like, the Voracious Tome Spinner is also a 2/3, but doesn't have the reveal and get the lands. Oh, is it different depending on, like, which thing it is? Still cool. Grub's Command! Wait, Tome Skinner isn't in the cycle? But it's got the cost and stuff. 5 mana, Kindred Sorcery Goblin. That's a very expensive command. It's cool that these are, like, they have the typing, though. So if you have something that's like Goblin spells cost 1 less, great. Goblins you cast cost 1 less. Create 2, or cost 2. Choose 2. Create a token that's a copy of target goblin you control. Alright. Creature target players controls get +1/+1 haste until end of turn. Destroy an artifact or creature. That part definitely makes it good for limited. Target player mills 5 cards, puts each goblin card milled this way into their hand. Okay. I feel like just this being a 5 mana sorcery speed kill spell probably makes it good enough for most limited decks. That's nice. The fairies are different in the cycle because they're basically the same between night and day. Huh. Shadow Urchin. They're talking about the cycle. 3 mana, 3/4. Whenever it attacks, you blight 1. So you'll be shrinking your own stuff. Whenever a creature you control with 1 or more counters on it dies, you exile that many cards from the top of your library, and you can play those cards. Ooh, but it's only until the next end step. Still, that's a cool way of having some card advantage. But you could also end up just, like, taking out cards from your deck. Yeah, not bad. More Ron Spencer art. Yeah, you can see the, like, I don't know if that's, like, colored pencil. That's cool looking, though. It's an Ouphe. It is an Ouphe. I think that there's at least one other Ouphe in the deck, too. Or in the set, too. 2 Ouphs. Yeah, the other Ouphe looks more like the other Ouphs. Is that many the number of counters it had? I believe so. Not the... Yeah, because it triggers for each creature that dies with counters on it, and then I think it's exiling based on the number of counters. Gangly Stompling. I mean, these are Ouphs too, but this is the 3 mana 4/2 with Trample. It's all creature types. Great, it's flexible. It's steppin'. Cute looking. Is it Ouphe or Ouphe? Okay, so the way most Magic players say it is Ouphe. The actual, like, fantasy term is not. I think it is like Ouphe. So if you're looking at what would it be, like Celtic lore or Gaelic lore, something like that. Don't say it, Ouphe. That's a Merfolk. It's a giant. It's sand. It's horse. Noggle Robber! Oh, look at how cute this thing is. Shucks, that's a cutie patootie. This is a Noggle Rogue, the Donkey Man. 3 mana, 3/3. When it enters or dies, you make a treasure. Oh, that's solid for limited. Yeah, nice. It gets you that mana back. Noggles have no concept of money, but they have a high affinity for shiny. Give them that glitter. It seems like a solid card for limited. Also, counts as 2 different colors for vivid. Raiding schemes. Huh. Each non-creature spell you cast has Conspire. Conspire? 5 mana enchantment. As you cast a non-creature spell, you may tap 2 untapped creatures you control that share a color with it. When you do, copy the spell, and you can choose new targets for the copy. And you can use this to copy permanents as long as they're not creatures. Huh. I don't really know how to evaluate this for limited. I think it's just kind of tricky. You need a significant number of non-creature spells. You also need to have creatures of the same color. Yeah, I think that this is great in a deck like a Bellow deck. But I think that this is for casual, it's for commander, it's for having fun, it's for silly times. I don't think I'd play it in limited just because it seems tough. Seems tough to make go. 5 mana do nothing, yeah. Vibrance. Oh, another mythic elemental incarnation has Evoke. Look at how colorful it is. It's a giant plant doggy. It's a 5 mana 4/4. When it enters, if green was spent on it, you get a land. You put it into your hand, shuffle, gain 2 life. And if red was spent, you deal 3 damage to any target. Okay, that's fine. This is such a weird card because it's like, yeah, that's fine removal or fine get a land into hand. But getting both feels really nice at 5 mana for limited. I don't know if I would play it outside of limited, but the flexibility for it is very cute. And it's a good boy! Yeah, it searches for any land, not just a basic. Rigid's Command. This is 1 green white, sorcery speed. It's a Kithkin spell that makes a copy of a Kithkin. Now, noticing that's a theme in all of these. Target player creates a 1/1 green and white Kithkin token. Okay. Creature gets +3/+3 until end of turn. And target creature fights target creature opponent controls. So I feel like this one is very much best as a fight spell because you can buff a thing and then make it fight. But it's sorcery speed, which is a little iffy. It's not bad. It's just not that impressive. It's fine. Affordable command. Yup. Eclipsed Kithkin. It's currently stuck between its types. You can see like one eye is glowing and the other isn't. 2 mana. When this enters, look at the top 4 cards, get a Kithkin Forest or Plains. But this one only costs 2, which I think is very doable. It's a 2/1. It counts as 2 colors. You don't have to try as hard for it. This is part of that same cycle. And that makes sense. It's a cheaper cycle overall. Like, just the creatures for Kithkin tend to be lower cost and just have more of them. I think that's fine. A lot of rares and mythics in the set aren't that great. That's pretty normal. A lot of limited cards will oftentimes be like, this doesn't really have a place. It's cool that it exists, though. Figure of Fable, a green-white hybrid card. You can pay green-white. Oh, it's like the old figures. You can turn it into a 2/3. So it starts as a 1/1. You can turn it into a 2/3. If it's already a 2/3, you can turn it into a 4/5 for 3 mana. And if it's a soldier, so if it's the 4/5, you can turn it into an avatar with base power and toughness 7/8 and protection from each of your opponents. Figure of Destiny. Yeah, Figure of Destiny. I used to have that in a commander deck. I like that. I think this is a very good card for limited, not just because of the hybrid cost. It counts as 2 for vivid. You can play it in either color, I think, very soundly. It's also just, you can do these at instant speed. It's a really great way to just kind of power up your creature as it goes. Yeah, Figure of Destiny. I want to say it was in, like... Was it in the pre-con? It was in, like, pre-cons ages ago. Like for Commander. It was from Lorwyn. Yeah, but I had a copy from a precon, I think. It might have even been the Kalia precon. It was from Eventide. Yes, it'll Lorwyn cycle. It's in Powered Cube right now. Poggers. She's doing the Gladiator hand through the wheat thing. I only saw Gladiator for the first time this, like, last year, 2025. I learned about the hand through the wheat as he's dying. It's cute. I think this is a cool card, though. Definitely like it for limited, though. Font Weft Lieutenant. 2 mana, 2/2. Whenever this creature or another Kithkin you control enters, target creature you control gets +1/+1 against sample until end of turn. Yeah, it's fine. It's very much like a limited buff. It's fine. The wider you go, the better it gets. If you have ways to have creatures enter at instant speed, which there's a bunch of things with Flash, that's also quite good. Oop. Wary Farmer. That cow's kind of cute. It's like side-eye. I'm like, hey. 3 mana, 3/3 at the beginning of your end step. If another creature entered the battlefield under your control this turn, surveil 1. Okay, great. Very minor buff, but on a 3 mana, 3/3, that's fine. Like, I'll take messing around with the top of my deck, especially if I'm in green-black, which I might be, and need to put some elves in the trash. The cow is wary too. Abigail! This is one of the Strixhaven students. I think all the Strixhaven students are multicolored. There's 4 plus 1 of them. One for each school and one that's going to join them in school. Abigail is an Owlin. She's from Silverquill, and she is deaf and uses magical hearing aids, which are easier to see. You can't actually see them at all. You can see them on other art of her. The like Strixhaven Curriculum of Chaos art, I think. So Abigail, I think, is a very good card, and we'll see play in Brawl, in Commander, because it's a flying first strike lifelink. Great. When it enters, up to one other target creature loses all abilities. You put a flying first strike and lifelink counter on that creature. This is blinkable, and I think it's just a nice ability, because it's like, yeah, I'm just going to remove abilities. I'm going to silence things, and then make things flying first strike lifelink. Still good abilities for those cards to have, but not that good. And if you have something that's like messing with counters, you could remove those. You could even remove, there's like some black cards that have downsides that you could play yourself and make it lose those downside abilities, give these upside abilities. I think that's kind of cute. Ouphe. Yeah. Anytime you're like trying to vanilla-ize creatures, you can do it offensively or defensively, depending on what you care about more, stats or taking away abilities. Yeah, you could use this on your Ancient one to just make it into an 8/8 with Flying First Strike lifelink. There's cool stuff you can do with this card. Oh. Sadness. Emptiness. 6 mana. It's a 3/5. If white was spent to cast it, you bring back a thing that has a creature with mana value 3 or less from the graveyard to the battlefield. And if black was spent, put 3 -1/-1 counters up to one target creature. I don't love this one. I kind of wish that it weren't a 3/5 at 6 mana, though like those are good abilities. At Mythic Rare, I kind of wish it was like a 4/5 or a 5/5. Still cool, and will probably get you good value in limited. Yeah, and you can evoke this too, to just do like, use it as removal or use it as reanimation. Probably if you're evoking it, you're using it as a kill. Prideful Feastling. Oh, all of its tentacles are like lamprey mouths. Huh. Grody. 3 mana, 2/3. Oh, it's like walking on the ocean floor, it kind of looks like. That's cool. Or is it gigantic and walking through like hedge mazes? I thought that might have been water above it, but maybe it's just like the twilight. It's a 2/3 with lifelink. It's fine. It's all creature types. Gorgon, we'll see one later. Reaping Willow, a 4 mana 3/6. This is part of the cycle? No, it's just hard to cast. Okay. It's 1 and then a whole bunch of white or black mana. I would only really do it if I was in both colors because of the difficulty to cast. Lifelink enters with 2/1/1 counters. You can pay 2, remove 2 counters from this creature to return a creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Okay, that's cute. That's a very good use of -1/1 counters. I also like that this has lifelink a lot. So it enters as a 1/4 but can reanimate. That's cool. Also, the art on this is kind of wild. This is Igor Christic art. Neat. Ashling's command. We saw Ashling before. Create a token that's a copy of target elemental. Okay, so same as the other commands. Target player draws 2 cards, and this one's an instant. That's nice. This one's an instant. 2 damage to each creature target player controls, or make 2 treasure tokens. Okay, this is nothing crazy, but I feel like draw 2 cards and make 2 treasure tokens would, on its own, just be fine. I like it. I think that this is fine for limited. Eclipsed, it's also an elemental spell, if you care. Eclipsed Flamekin is making some weird... Was this like glass etching? Kind of feels like glass etching. 3 mana, 1/4 when it enters. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. Elemental, Island, or Mountain. But this one's easier to cast than the ones that are triple colored. I think that this can be playable if you are just in blue, just in red, but it gets better if you're both because you're more likely to hit because it's Elemental, Island, or Mountain. Are they maps? It looks like impressions of the landscape done artistically in glass, I'm guessing because they're Flamekin. Flaring Cinder. 3 mana, 3/2 when it enters, and whenever you cast a spell with a mana value 4 or greater, you can discard a card and draw a card. Not too exciting, but I mean, it's looting. Sorry, it's rummaging. Yeah, I kind of like that, like for 1 mana more, you can just straight up draw a card on a similar ability. I think art direction on the set was very fun. Oh, here's Sonar, another one of the Strixhaven students. Very ADD Goblin. Really likes the elementals and like the Flamekin of the plane. Also, yeah, is still a goblin. Is a Prismari goblin. Does art, causes chaos. 4 mana, 2/4, Vivid. At the beginning of your first main phase, you reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal X non-land cards, where X is the number of colors among permanents you control. For each of those cards, they've just been revealed. You can exile a card of that color from among the revealed cards, and then shuffle. You may cast the exiled card this turn. So depending on for each of these, so it's like for each of the vivid colors, you get to exile one of the revealed cards, and you can cast it this turn. You cannot play lands from this because they're colorless. Yeah, so this just gives you an impulse draw every turn. Yeah, he's a sorcerer. Weird. It feels like it's a good card. It's giving you card advantage. It's a little slow. It doesn't do anything until next turn. But still nice. It's a lot of text to say Ren's Resolve. It's Ren's Resolve that doesn't work on lands though, because they're not colored. You can't play. Yeah, I think that this, by the way, is a Strixhaven, or I guess Arcavios Goblin, which is the first one we've seen that wasn't on a spell, and they changed what they look like. Let me go to Scryfall. So the last time we saw an Arcavios Goblin, it looked like this. This was an Arcavios Goblin. I think that they wanted to include more Goblin students for the upcoming set. And so Sonar is a new one. And I believe he is from Arcavios. I think all of the students are from Arcavios except for Tam, who said she's from Chandalar. Or it is said that she's from Chandalar. Twin Flame Travelers. 4 mana, 3/3 flying. If a triggered ability of another elemental you control triggers, it triggers an additional time. Okay, cool. That'll go in a lot of elemental decks, because it doubles what they're doing. It's no roaming throne, though, because it's not even a 4-mana 4/4 with Ward 2, but it is a 3/3 flyer. That's not bad, and it will work on some of the stuff in the set. Eclipsed Elf. 3-mana, 3/2. When this creature enters, you look at the top 4 cards of your library, same as the others. Elf, Swamp, or Forest. And this one's not 2/3, it's a 3/2. Again, only if I was in all of those colors because of the specificity of it hitting and difficulty to cast. It does look like her hooves were changed from feet last minute, but she is hot. This is High Perfect Morkant. She is a leader of one of the groups of elves on Lorwyn. She's a 4-mana 4/4, and whenever she or another elf you control enters, each opponent will blight 1. So they put a -1/-1 counter on a creature. Tap 3 untapped elves you control to proliferate. Only at sorcery speed, but there's a lot of stuff you can proliferate. Not just the -1/-1 counters that you put on your opponent, but you could proliferate to make your planeswalkers stronger, or proliferate some +1/+1 counters. There's a lot of pretty good stuff you can do with this card. Yeah, she essentially just has 2 giant overgrown toenails. Yeah, like that's just not quite how hoof work. She would have like a weird hunch if she was standing like this. You want it to read prefect instead of perfect. Yeah, perfect is essentially a rank of elves based on their beauty, because the Lorwyn elves are like that. Good and limited, good and constructed. Like, there's stuff you can do with this in Commander, especially. As for Standard, I don't know. Lewin, this is another one of the legendary elves from the set. This is the... He is from Lorwyn, but he is going to be joining the Strixhaven students and going to Strixhaven. He's going to be their Witherbloom guy, because, I don't know, you gotta round out one for each school, right? Also, he shows up in the art for that set. 2-mana, 1/3 elf druid. When he enters, you mill 4 cards. Then you can put a creature or land card from him, and the milled cards on top of your library. Oh, I want to put it into hand. He also is worms. 5-mana, discard a land. Create worms for each land card in your graveyard. That's so weird that that's the ability he got. Like, yes, that's very Witherbloom, very Strixhaven. But, like, as far as callback cards, did we need this? Yeah, he's a druid. I think he's very pretty, though. It's Worm Harvest. Yeah. I don't know why we're getting Worm Harvest, though. This card to me is very strange. It is not a bad card. It sets up the top of your deck, but it's also not that good of a card. Yeah, I used to have Worm Harvest in, like, my Gitrog deck. You want to build him because he's pretty? Yeah. That's real. It was a card from Eventide. Yeah, there's a lot of callback cards like that. Morkant's Loyalist. Some people who serve Morkant. This guy also served Morkant until he didn't. He, like, was like, nah, I don't want to kill nighttime. Morkant's Loyalist is a 3-mana 3/2. It's an elf lord. Other elves you control get +1/+1. When this dies, you return another elf from your graveyard to your hand. That's not bad, especially if you're doing some sort of, like, elf ball, some Abomination of Llanowar type stuff. Oh gosh, what's the... There's the one that, like, taps and drains mana. There's some good blue or green-black elves out there, and this is pretty good. It's pretty good for limited too, since it will get you another elf when it dies. Stoic Grove Guide, 5-mana 5/4, good stats right there. 2-mana, exile the card from your graveyard to make an elf token. Oh, nice. We had something like that in white too, but it was like a 1-drop. I feel like this is good, especially if you happen to mill it and you're not planning on bringing it back into your hand. It's essentially like, oh yeah, a 2-mana 2/2. That feels good to me. Tristan's Command. We saw Tristan before. 6 mana. It's an elf spell. Create a copy of an elf. Return 1 or 2 target permanent cards from your graveyard to your hand. Okay, that's fine. Destroy creature enchantment. It's kind of pricey, but sure. Creatures target player controls gets +3/+3 until end of turn and untap them. If this were instant, that would be so much better. This is fine. This one Rachel's like every game. Oh, yeah, I mean it's not a bad card. It's just, you know, it's doing a bunch of stuff. I think usually you're going to be doing some combination of these. Maybe sometimes you'll have like one of these to copy. If you got an elf, it gets better. Yeah, you could Convoke in main phase 1 and then untap them all. Bray of Clan Stout Arm is a giant warrior. She looks like a shepherd to me. This is a 4-mana 4/4 giant warrior. You can pay 2 to give another target creature you control flying and lifelink until end of turn. Notably at instant speed, so you like could give one of your other creatures flying and lifelink by empowering them and lifting them up into the sky. At the beginning of your end step, if you gained life this turn, you can exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card. Can't whiff. You may cast that spell without paying its mana cost if the spell's mana value is less than or equal to the amount of life gained this turn. Otherwise, put it into your hand. I think that this is actually a very fun card, and I think it's very good for limited, and I think it's good for constructed too. She's throwing them. She might be throwing them. But then she gets more. She picks up more friends along the way. I'll probably end up building this for Brawl. Catharsis. Oh, freaky snail thing. I don't like snails. This is a 6-mana. Evokes for 2. 3/4. If you spent white on it, you get 2/1/1 tokens. If you spent red on it, creatures you control get +1/+1 and haste until end of turn. So if you play this, it will give itself haste and make essentially like 2/2 attackers. That's kind of nice. Feels aggressive. I don't know if I feel that's super worth it, but it's still very playable if you're in those colors. Comes down with a lot of power. Yeah, if you're casting it for the full cost. A feisty spikeling. During your turn, this creature has first strike. It's a 2/1. Okay. It's fine. It's a changeling. It's a giant. Hovel Hurler. Throws the whole house. Goblin is... Look at the little guy. Look at the little guy on there. That's so cute. This is a 5-mana 6/7. Enters with 2 -1/-1 counters. So it's like a 4/5. Yep. You can pay 2, remove a counter from the creature to give another creature +1/+0 and flying until end of turn. It's a sorcery. So this is the guy who's just yeeting people. Yeah, I actually think that's a really solid uncommon, like stat line and everything else. And look, yeah, it's got the meme number, but you have to remove some counters for it to really be the meme number. If you want the 6/7, you have to work for it. Kirill, Attentive First Year. This is the vampire Strixhaven student. They get kidnapped by elves and end up helping later. Gets rescued by a Johnny. Honestly, like, just shows up and Johnny's carrying them. Like, hey, I found this guy. 3-mana 3/3. You can tap 2 untapped creatures you control to copy a triggered ability you control. You can choose new targets, but you can only do it once a turn. This is an incredibly strong ability that is super held back by being limited to once a turn. Do I think it's good and limited? I think it's fine and limited. There's lots of copyable abilities. In constructed, it's also fine. There's good triggered abilities to copy. I just wish you could copy more than one a turn. But at 3 mana, that's kind of hard. Chitinous Graspling. Took me a second to see where the guy is. Okay, so there's the head. This is definitely more Ferguson art. Arm, body, and it's like got a big rock with spider legs. Huh. Yeah, the things with Evoke are nice with that. More art, you can't really tell what's going on. That's Richard Kane Ferguson's staple art right there. It's another 2-color changeling. There's some of these in each of the colors, it looks like, which is kind of nice. I like it. It's a 3/4 with reach, and it fits creature type needs. There's a cycle of 5. Oh. Oh, look at this little Ouphe. I saw this when I was doing the, preview. I like this. I think this is cute. 5 mana, 1/4. Ooh, that's a bad sound line. At the beginning of combat in your turn, another target creature you control gets +X, where X is the number of creatures or permanents among colors among permanents you control. Wow. So I don't know. It can't hit itself. The art is phenomenal. It's another Nilsham Ouphe. He's done a whole bunch of these. The Bairns. I'm not a big fan of the ability though. Yeah, I wish it could buff itself. Tam, Mindful First Year. I'm actually currently working on a video entirely about this card because there's something weird about it, and it's what she looks like. Tam, Mindful First Year is a 2-mana 2/2 Gorgon wizard. She's a probability mage, so she's Quandrix. She's one of Strixhaven students. And each other creature you control has hexproof from each of its colors. That's a great, just static ability. And you can tap to turn target creature you control into all colors, so essentially giving it big protection. This is a great card for limited. It doesn't protect itself, but it is still good. Somebody's asking, did Vraska and Jace have a child? In this timeline, definitely not. That was actually a plot point in the story. But she is a Gorgon. She's not a human Gorgon. She's not a human Gorgon. She is just a Gorgon. Yeah, to Mother of Runes. This does help enable Vivid. Gives you all 5 colors on demand. Yep. I think this is a very good card for limited and has some cool other build-arounds you can do. The flavor text, what are the odds? What would you like them to be? In the story, she does something very funny where she changes the odds of, Reese tripping when he's attacking, and so he keeps on tripping and then falls out of a window because she's messing with the probability. I thought that was cute. Loot is their child? No, yeah, Loot's the child they kidnapped. Yeah, when I finish my video, you'll hear all about Tam and what I believe is a case of somebody either doing the wrong research or somebody trying to make excuses for the wrong research. Wistfulness is a 5-mana 6/5. Ooh, and it's like a freaky salamander thing. When it enters, if green was spent on it, you exile an artifact or enchantment opponent controls. If blue was spent, you draw 2 and then discard. Okay, so pretty nice on either of those if you're just evoking it out. And nice if you're doing both. Is it that she doesn't look like a Gorgon? Yes, there is something up with her visual design, and I believe I know why it happened. That's what I'm gonna bring up. That's this crux of the video that I want to put out. Why are these all mythic? I don't know, because they're flexible. Now we have some 3-color cards. Now there's a couple of these here, just these. But these are definitely designed for Commander. Doran Besieged by Time. I will already be building because I already have a Butts Matter deck, and he's a good Butts Matter card. He'll hang out with Felithar. 4 mana, 0/5. Each creature spell you cast with a toughness greater than its power, so booty be big, costs 1 less. This is also pretty decent and limited. Whenever a creature you control attacks or blocks, it gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the difference between its power and toughness. So a 0/5, as an example, would be a 5/10 while it's attacking or blocking. This is different than most things that just say your toughness is your power, pretty much. And it actually stacks with them, because if you have both Felithar and Doran out now, it would be a 10/10. Yeah! Yippee! It doesn't let walls attack or anything. No, you need somebody else to do that. Works for blocking, yeah, which, nice. Lets the walls be apart. Different, kind of the same, and stacks with the other ability. I think the Duran is fine for limited, though. And then there's Marilyn, Fae Ascendant, who is definitely good for limited. Also, I will be building it because you'll see in 1 second. It's a 5-mana 4/5 flyer. Great, good stats. Whenever Marilyn or another elf or fairy you control enters, exile the top 2 cards of target opponent's library. Ooh, elf and or fairy typo? Once a turn, you may cast a spell with mana value less than or equal to the number of elves and fairies you control from among the cards exiled with Marilyn this turn without paying its mana cost. It's crime. It's always been crime. All I'm ever gonna do is crime. No, I have no idea what the heck this does with, like, why is this Marilyn? I don't know. I guess because she's kind of embracing her more Fae side, and the Fae kind of caused the pranks of stealing the things. But, yeah, it's a crime card, and it's also, I would probably build it as either focusing on elves or on fairies. Elves has better typal support, fairies has more interesting typal support. He's both. Probably do elves. Elf crime, baby. Just spit out 10,000 elves. Steal your entire opponent's deck. And I love that she can cast counter spells stolen by having 1 card a turn. So you can cast a stolen spell on your turn and on their turn. There's been a lot of crime cards that have been specific to one turn. And those suck. This is better. Yeah, each turn. Not each of your turns, each turn. So yeah, elves and fairies. Also nobles. Still cool. Yeah, fairies are good if you want to do more stuff on their turns, but like it's like you have to exile the cards with Marilyn, and there's a lot more elves that are just like, I'll play them on my turn, and a lot more fairies you would play on your opponent's turn in order to steal on their turn and play those spells. But I'm gonna figure it out. I just have to find instants and sorceries. Because the timing of the stolen spells still applies. So if you only steal, like, lands and sorceries with the fairies flashing in, you don't get much. Lame. I know. She's a lot better at playing the stolen cards on your turn, because you have to steal them on that turn. I'll make it work. I'll make it go, throw in a Leyline of Anticipation or something. But anyway, those are all of the multicolored cards. Some very interesting ones, some of the more commander-friendly ones. And we're going to be taking a little break before we look at the colorless and lands. See you in a minute.